Hello and welcome to Byju's IAS. Let's get started and look into our daily quiz. Let's look into the first question. Consider the following statements. The orders of delimitation commission set up by the government of India cannot be challenged in any court. Delimitation of Jammu and Kashmir's Lok Sabha seats is governed by the Indian constitution, but delimitation of assembly seats is governed by the Jammu and Kashmir Representation of the People's Act 1957. Which of the above statements is or correct? The answer to this is one only. Why have we taken this practice question? Because of the reference in the Indian Express article. When we look into the first question, what is this delimitation? Basically, delimitation is nothing but redrawing the boundaries of the Lok Sabha constituency and also of the State Assembly constituency. So the delimitation basically involves changing the boundaries of the constituency as per the population of the country and the population of the state. So this particular activity is conducted by one of the independent authorities called as the Delimitation Commission of India. When this Delimitation Commission of India conducts such an activity of redrawing the boundaries of a particular constituency, this cannot be questioned in the court of law. Why it cannot be questioned? If people start filing cases after cases, elections will not happen for an indefinite period, which is why whatever this delimitation commission decides, that will be the final, and this cannot be questioned in the court of law. When you look into the composition, it will usually have the retired Supreme Court judge, chief election commissioner, and the respective state election commissioner who go to that particular state, define what the Lok Sabha constituency is, define what the state assembly constituency is, and ultimately help in the conduction of the election process. The commission is also supposed to determine the number and boundaries of the constituency. They are the ones who also select which seat in a particular state will have to be reserved for the SC/STs based on the population in that particular state. So this particular organization performs all these activities. Now, when you look into the second statement, delimitation of Jammu and Kashmir's Lok Sabha seats, yes, it is governed by the Indian Constitution. Recently, we have also brought changes when it comes to Article 370 of the Indian Constitution. We did dilute the status of the state of Jammu and Kashmir, which is now a union territory. So, what we have is right now we have a change introduced. So, the Jammu and Kashmir's Lok Sabha and State Assembly is as per the Indian Constitution, and State Assembly is not as per Jammu and Kashmir Representation of the People's Act. Earlier, we had the Jammu and Kashmir Constitution and this act which was used to draw the constituency map for the state assemblies. But now, since we have introduced changes in Article 370, which is why the very idea of Indian Constitution also works when it comes to the state assemblies as well. Now let's look into the next practice question. Which of the following statements are correct? Genetic Engineering Appraisal Committee, which functions under the Ministry of Science and Technology, examines the scientific merits of releasing genetically modified seeds into the environment. BT cotton is the only GM crop that has been approved for commercial cultivation. Which of the statements are correct? The answer to this is two only. Why? That is because when you look into this committee, the Genetic Engineering Appraisal Committee, it does not function under the Ministry of Science and Technology, but instead it functions under the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. When you look into BT cotton, yes, this is the only crop where the government of India has given permission for using this particular seed at the commercial level. We also have brinjal, we also have mustard. This has not been given permission by the government of India. So it is BT cotton alone which is given permission by the government of India for usage at the commercial level. Now when you look into the Genetic Engineering Appraisal Committee, this is a statutory body which is constituted under the rules for the manufacture, use, import, export and storage of hazardous microorganisms, genetically engineering organisms or cells 1989, under which this particular committee functions. What are the functions of this particular committee? When it comes to the BT cotton or any of the genetically modified crops, whether they are good for the environment, whether it is good for the usage by the people, this will be inquired, this will be investigated, and finally the authority which will give permission for usage by the people is this genetic engineering appraisal committee. If this does not give permission, it cannot be used at the commercial level. Farmers will not be able to use such a variety of crop for growth. As a result, it is this authority which has to give the permission for the usage when it comes to the commercial activity. When you look into this article, the article goes on to say that BT cotton adoption showed benefits according to the study. According to the study which was conducted in Punjab, it has gone on to say that this has increased the net economic and environmental benefits, and at the same time it was also able to increase the yield as well. It was able to reduce the usage of the fertilizers as well. So ultimately it is the farmers who are at benefit, says this article. It is this that we have to understand in reference to this article. Now let's look into the next practice question. Which of the following differences between Consumer Protection Act of 1986 and Consumer Protection Act of 2019 are correct? Under the 1986 Act, the complaint should be filed in a consumer court where the seller's office was located. Under 2019 Act, complaint can be filed in a consumer court where the complainant resides. There was no mediation cells under 1986 Act. Under 2019 Act, court can refer settlement through mediation. Which of the differences given here are correct? The answer to this is C. Why have we taken this practice question? Because of the reference in the PIB article. So what are the differences between the 2019 Act and the 1986 Act? When you look into the regulator, there was no separate regulator under the Consumer Protection Act of 1986, but we have what is called as the Central Consumer Protection Authority, which was formed under 2019. When it comes to the consumer court, what we have is a major difference in the 1986 Act and 2019 Act. What is the difference? Complaint could be filed in a consumer court where the seller's office is located, but in the 2019 Act, if there is a complainant who feels that there is a grievance and this grievance is not addressed by the seller, in such a case, wherever the complainant is, in such a place, the consumer petition can also be filed. So in the earlier situation, wherever the seller was, this customer could only file a case in such a place, but according to the new act, he can also file a consumer case wherever he is currently present. When it comes to the product liability, there was no provision under 1986 Act, but when it comes to 2019 Act, consumer can seek compensation for the harm caused by a product or by a service. Now, when it comes to pecuniary jurisdiction, the amount has been enhanced under the 2019 Act. When it comes to e-commerce, there were no rules and regulations, but now in 2019, there are some rules that the government has come up with. Finally, when it comes to the mediation cells, there were no legal provision when it comes to 1986 Act, and now courts can refer such a settlement through the mediation as well. These are some of the differences between the 1986 Act and 2019 Act. Now let's look into the next practice question. Which of the following statements are correct? The chairman of Legislative Council is nominated by the governor. To become a member of State Legislative Council, a person must at least be 25 years old. The tenure of a member of the Legislative Council is 6 years. Which of the statements are correct? The answer to this is 3 only. When you look into the first statement, the chairman of Legislative Council is not nominated by the member. Instead, he is elected by the members of the Legislative Council. So the first statement is wrong. When you look into the second statement, to become a member of State Legislative Council, a person must be 30 years old and not 25 years. When it comes to the MLA, it is 25 years. That is the member of Legislative Assembly, it is 25 years. But for the member to be part of the Legislative Council, he has to be 30 years old. The tenure of the member of Legislative Council, yes, it is 6 years and not 5 years as like the Legislative Assembly. Why have we taken this practice question? Because of the reference to the member of Legislative Council in the Hindu article. Now let's look into the next practice question. Which one of the following is the best description of INS Ashtadharini that was in news recently? Amphibious warfare ship, nuclear powered submarine, torpedo launch and recovery vessel, nuclear powered aircraft carrier. The answer to this is torpedo launch and recovery vessel. This happens to be a previous year question from the year 2016. What is this INS Ashtadharini? This is nothing but an indigenously developed torpedo launch and recovery vessel. Now let's look into the fact of the day. The fact of the day for today's discussion is National Food Security Act. What is this National Food Security Act? Basically, this is one of the act which provides food and nutritional security to the people in India. What does it do? It provides about 35 kg of food grains per month for those persons who come under AA household, and for those people who come under the PHH household, they will be getting about 5 kg of food grains per month under this National Food Security Act. What will be the food grains that will be given? Rice would be given, wheat and coarse grains would be sold at 3 rupees, 2 rupees and 1 per kg for those people who are entitled for the food subsidy under this particular program. When you look at the national level, about 75% of the people under the rural area and about 50% of the people in the urban areas are entitled under this National Food Security Act. This National Food Security Act basically also ensures that one of the sustainable developmental goals to bring an end to hunger and to achieve food security is achieved under goal 2. So the aim is to ensure that everyone everywhere has enough good quality food to lead their lives. And when it comes to an important factor, the schemes such as midday meal scheme, public distribution system, integrated child developmental services are all included under this particular act. So what are the entitlements that is provided? The food grains would be provided at highly subsidized prices under the PDS. The act ensures nutritional support to women and children. Pregnant and lactating women will also be entitled to nutritious meals free of charge under these programs, and children in the age group of 6 to 14 years would also be entitled to free nutritious meals under the midday meal scheme as well as integrated child developmental services. It is this that we have to understand in reference to the National Food Security Act. So this is it for today. Thank you for watching. All the best.